A new feature for System Center is the integration with Intel vPro enabled systems to perform remote out-of-band functions. Here, you see the console extensions being launched that allow the administrator to perform several different activities. By right-clicking on a computer in our collection, we can launch the out-of-band console that gives us the ability to perform things like power management, Intel IDE redirection, as well as things like system inventory and BIOS control. Once we have the out-of-band console open, we can review system information, we can look at system inventory, we can view and change power control settings, we can review the event log, as well as the audit log, and finally we can remotely look at the BIOS for doing things like boot order changes and other maintenance tasks from a help desk perspective. One of the most powerful features of the AMT technology integration is our ability to remotely control the BIOS of a system. Here, you're seeing me select the BIOS boot option. I'm going to restart this computer, and remotely I'm now going to control that BIOS on that machine and make a change to the system settings. This is over a serial connection, but we're using our network services to do this, so I could be anywhere in the world and touching this machine remotely. Here, you see the machine rebooting, and we're going into the BIOS at this point. And in a second here, you'll see the language selection, which is also presented on the user's machine. I'll select the language of my choice, in this case English, and I'll select that and move into the actual BIOS settings themselves. Here, I'm now remotely controlling the BIOS screen, and I'm going to go through and make some changes here remotely, like for example the boot order. Let's just change that network controller boot order to be moved above the CD-ROM drive, and from here we can then resave that and we'll reboot the machine back to its normal reboot operations. Another powerful feature of AMT technology is a feature called IDE redirect. This power control feature allows us to control how the reboot happens, and in fact in this situation we could reboot remotely to an ISO image of some kind. This allows that help desk to remotely recover a machine and perhaps initiate a rebuild of the system. Another feature of the AMT technology is the ability to actually monitor and review data on the machine without it actually being turned on. Here, you see me in the power control features actually turning the machine off remotely, so I'm going to power this machine down and demonstrate that only using a couple of watts of power across the network card connection, we can still actually review data and things like system inventory. So as we're just waiting for this machine to come down, you now see it's turned off, and I can now view the system information just like the machine is on, without the actual machine being turned up and spinning and running as an operating system. So remotely being able to review and do some of these inventory settings and then power the machine back on remotely is a very powerful feature of AMT technology.